Welcome back. It isn't every day you have some legendary people synonymous with UK basketball. We're joined by sportswriter and new author of Déjà Blue, Jerry Tipton.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. And as Tyler mentioned, you're here promoting your new book, memoir, Déjà Blue. Kind of tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this.
Well, you know, to be honest, I never liked being in the spotlight. I just wanted to blend in. The story was never about the reporter. It was about the players, the coaches, and so on, fans. And but after 41 years, I felt like, you know, I think I could put a memoir together, and I think there are plenty of anecdotes.
Put two memoirs together.
41 seasons.
But so anyway, there was a lot of anxiety involved of like, can I do this? It's so much different than a newspaper story. And then how do I do this? How do I organize it? But over time, you know, I felt comfortable with how it was turning out.
You mentioned that process of how you were going to do this. Was there, I mean, 41 seasons, that's a long time. What was that like, just going back and talking to some of the people who you covered throughout the course of the year? Some people like Tubby Smith and so on.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to do, was make it more than just about me. So I talked to over 40 people, players, coaches, and so on, who, you know, and kind of gave me their memories too, not just of me, but of their time. So I kind of hopefully gave it a kind of a historical feel to it.
As you were interviewing them for this, did your relationship with them change at all from covering them 40 years ago, 10 years ago into now?
Well, there's always, as you probably know, there's an air of tension during the season. You know, they're trying to win. They have their agenda, trying to win, and I had my agenda as a reporter, trying to tell the readers what was going on. And sometimes doing that conflicts with what their job was.
Sense.
So, you know, there was, you know, but now, you know, it's all in the past, and you can kind of overlook things and move on.
You were talking about before how, as a sports writer, you're confined to a certain amount of pages, certain amount of words. Right. This, you could have gone on, you could have made this double the size. You could have written a part 2. Right. What was that like, making sure you got all the stories that you wanted to fit in there?
Well, I hope I did. The publisher, Acclaim Press, asked for like 225 pages, and it's like 250, 250
I'm double
something.
checking.
Perfect summary.
And,
yes.
And they were, you know, my anxiety now is, did I get that in? Did I? I'll think of some incident or something, and did I get that in? Some I didn't, I have to confess. But I tried to hit the highlights of that time.
And obviously this book and your career, a lot of it is dedicated to Kentucky basketball, but taking back even further, you started your career covering a Marshall plane crash. So how have things like that kind of impacted your life?
Well, I was a sophomore at Marshall, and I was in my second semester of the journalism department as a journalism student, and when the plane crashed, and you know, it was surreal. I mean, it's hard to find the right word. And back then, to give you an idea of how different things are, back then the athletes lived in the same dorms as the regular students. So you got to, you know, at least get a sense of them as people in addition. And then, of course, when that happened, it was, you know, it was unbelievable, because, you know, and, you know, I don't know if you remember, well, you're too young, but back in the day, a month earlier, there was a plane crash involving an athletic team. And so twice within a month or so, it just didn't seem right. And one of my friends, it's in the book, dorm friends, was a manager on the football team. And we didn't know, you know, this was before cell phones and all of that. We had no idea if he was on the plane or not. You just had to wait until the next day and see if he was there, and he was, thankfully. And I talked to him. He was one of the people I talked to.
It's amazing how much has changed from 40 years ago to now, just the instantaneous nature of getting information. Quickly before we go, Jerry, you don't want to give all the keys to this book and all the stories in there, but is there one that was the most favorite for you?
I'm trying to think. I tell you, my favorite chapter was one on fans.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, you hear that, Justin?
And just how fanatical they are. And I chuckled many times during putting that chapter together. There was a professor I would talk to at Murray State. He's a psychology professor. He specializes in fan psychology. So I would...
I need to meet him.
That's a deep dive.
He was great. I highly recommend him.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Jerry, thank you so much. Go check out Déjà Blue by Jerry Tipton. It's going to be a perfect summer read. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back with the final half hour after the break.
You're watching Fox 56 News. Our home, your news.